I have the pleasure to welcome actress, director, and Emmy-winning producer Lilly Melgar, who broke barriers in Hollywood with her starring role on General Hospital. Now, with a new short called Espacios Vacíos, brings the most personal project of her career. This is quite an honor for me. This is the interview 30 years in the making, believe it or not. I have admired this woman for most of my life, from the moment that I saw her in Tu Música to later on seeing her on General Hospital, being a Latina, being a Salvadoran woman, starring in one of the biggest soap operas in America. Thank you, Lilly, for being with me today.
What an incredible introduction that was. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm actually a little dumbfounded that you actually watched me on Tu Música. Oh my gosh, that was the beginning of my career. It's so special to me. That's amazing. Thank you for your support all of these years. That's just beautiful. Thank you.
The best part of that is seeing your trajectory and seeing that there is representation. So that was, I mean, you busted the door open, girl.
I was a Latina at the right time in this industry. Because when I went to go visit my dear friend Ricky Martin at a concert at Universal, and I go to the VIP room to be with him, and there's Vanessa Marcel and Maurice Bernard and Rena Sofer and Wally Kurth, and I was starstruck because I was such a GH fan. And the producer, executive producer Wendy Rich was there, sees me, says, "Who's this girl?" Next thing I know, make a long story short, I'm written into General Hospital with Ricky Martin. They were really launching as a Latino couple. We get to go on location. We get to make history, and we're taking the Emmys for best show, best ratings. They call that the second golden era of General Hospital, the first being Luke and Laura, obviously. And then when Ricky left, they married me to Maurice, who is half El Salvadoran, which how cool is that? So rare in the industry. I don't know a lot of El Salvadoran actors.
I have to tell you, I still am mad at General Hospital for killing you the way that they did. That was a hard episode to watch.
Right? But then I wouldn't have one of the most famous deaths on daytime. Even now, all of these years, decades later, it's still effective. It is so good. And it was such a great time because back then there was no spoilers. So nobody saw it coming. So the impact that it had on Lilly lovers as well as Lilly haters, and God knows the Lilly haters. Oh, God.
Do you think that Hollywood is more open to Latinos now? Have you seen a change or a shift from when you started to now? Is it easier for Latinos to break into the business?
Oh, absolutely. There are so many more roles. The competition now is insane. A lot of the things that most actors or actresses have been afraid of in the past, I really haven't been. I never felt any negativity towards my treatment in the industry for being Latina. I always saw it as a plus. When I was starting, it was like, me, Salma, Jennifer, and maybe 3 others. And now it's like thousands and beautiful, talented women. It's a fierce, fierce competitive world now when it comes to diversity. And the same with aging in Hollywood. I don't have that fear, or I haven't had that fear. Maybe it'll pop up now, but I haven't had that fear. Like I thought I was rocking my 40s, I felt great. And I never saw it again as a negative or an obstacle in my work. You have to align your choices with your self-worth. I think that's important. That's something that I now take very, very seriously, that nobody had told me when I was doing this.
Do you think that the Me Too movement has changed the game for actors? Do you think that it's changed how you do an audition, or what's allowed and what's not allowed?
I think it's a really good beginning. I think it's a really strong beginning. There's more work to be done. And let it not be a moment, let it not be algo de moda, let it not be, that hip moment in Hollywood. Let it be change, a transition. And that's, only time will tell. But are there more roles for older women now than ever? Yes. Are there more female directors being given opportunities? Yes. Let's keep this going. Let's keep growing in this new wave.
In your life, Lilly, as an actress or even as a human being, who has been your biggest inspiration?
My mom, for sure. For sure. She has taught me to believe in myself, that I really can achieve anything that I put my mind to, as long as I'm willing to go after it, to go for it, and to, again, believe it. And she taught me these lessons by example. Many of her metas, many of the goals that she set for herself within the company, they told her, now you're really, really pushing it. That's nearly impossible. And she did it time and again. So she's my greatest inspiration. The way that she was able to believe in herself, the way she's able to inspire and motivate other women to do the same, all the while being such a success story. She has the biggest heart out of anyone that I know. Honestly, the most generous, loving human being on the planet that I've come across. So that's my greatest inspiration, to believe, to go after my dreams, believe that I'm worthy, that I can achieve them, and keep that heart connection, and always, always be grateful and find ways to inspire other women.
What facet of your life do you like most? Do you like acting? Do you like producing? Do you like directing? Because you do it all. Which is your favorite?
I always say acting is my first love. So it's the most special to me because it's my first love. And then I went into producing, and I was addicted because I finally had control. As an actor, you have very little control. So it was like, wait a minute, I have a say in what color the curtain in the room is going to be. Like, what location, set design? Like, I have a say in everything. I was hooked. I was like, this is my playground. The other aspect of producing that I fell in love with is that you get to set the tone on your set. And as I've had amazing experiences, there's also been some that weren't the best. And that, I always say, that always stems from the top of the leadership of whatever the project is. And whatever the intention is of the heads, it translates energetically. So that became something really important to me, that when I got to produce, I really wanted to set the tone of a positive, loving environment, which is continued with me as a director. Again, I have more creative control. And again, I get to be in a position where I get to lift my actors up. I get to make them feel good. And I always enter a project, if I'm a director or a producer or both, with the intention that every person on my set will leave with great memories and want to work with me again and feel good about themselves. And I also host, and I love hosting because I love feeling like I'm connecting with my audience. you know, like my daughter can't stand the camera. I love the camera. It's my best friend, you know, so to get to speak to it and get to connect with so many people that I cannot see, but I know that I'm connecting with, it's just, it's another really beautiful aspect of what I get to do.
Lilly, what do the arts mean to you?
Well, for me, they give me life. It's just such a part of who I am. It's like breathing. It's such a beautiful way of self-expression. And we are all artists and we express it in different facets of our life.
What would be your best advice for someone who's trying to break into the business right now?
Growing up, the only thing I wanted in life was to be on General Hospital. I didn't even realize that I wanted to be an actress. I really didn't. I wanted to be on General Hospital. And then when I saw Maurice Bernard playing Desi Arnaz, I had a new dream. I have to work with this guy. That came very quickly for me. I was 19 years old and I was screen testing for General Hospital. And then they couldn't decide between me and the other actress. And I kept asking my agent, they're like, they call and they say they're having a really hard time deciding. They finally went with the other actress. So I get a call from my commercial agent saying, this is the weirdest thing we've ever had come through, but a producer saw you on your Taco Bell commercial and they want to see you today in person because they're recasting for a show called Tu Música. Now, quick timeout. I should have set this up. My mom, months before this, called me into the living room. She goes, Lily, venga ver esto. Mira, hija, ¿qué piensas? I'm like, qué chivo. And she says to me, no sé, hija, pero yo te veo a ti haciendo esto. She was convinced that I should be hosting that show. And I looked at it and I said, yeah, I think I would be good at that. Cut to the day I'm told I didn't get General Hospital. That day, I'm now going to Luca Bentivoglio to meet with him, to be considered to be the host of the show that my mom showed me. Another dream that I had was to be on the cover of Cosmopolitan. I never knew there was a Latin Cosmopolitan. The moment I found out, I said, Mom, I know how I can be on the cover. She laughs and she's like, okay. And I'm like, I'm too short to be on it, but they will put me on it if I become famous. If I become famous enough, they will put me on it. So I get the música. A year later, he calls me into the office. He says, sit down. We just got a call from Cosmopolitan, the Latin Cosmopolitan. They want you on the cover. So all of these beautiful things happen. My first interview at 19 years old was Carlos Santana in his backyard, sipping tea as he's talking to me about his wild cosmic spiritual beliefs. And I'm sitting there going, how did I get here? Had I gotten General Hospital when I wanted it, I wouldn't have gotten Tu Música, been on the cover of the Latin Cosmopolitan. Through that, I got to spend a weekend covering Ricky Martin in Puerto Rico. We became the best of friends. Every time he'd come down to LA, I was who he was hanging out with. And next thing you know, we're written into General Hospital and wrapped into this most extraordinary way of making my dream come true is that I get to work with Maurice Bernard, which was my other dream. My point is this: sometimes that rejection can actually be your greatest gift. So don't give up so easily and just keep the faith, because I am here to tell you that God's plan is always better than yours.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Gracias, Ma. ¿Qué haces despierta tan temprano?
You know, one of the things that I loved about Espacios Vacíos, it makes you feel and it makes you think. Let me tell you, it must run in the family because your niece was Incredible.
Se llama Tommy.
Tommy, no, y no, él no va. Además, no creo que está interesado en mí.
Ah, no. Pues él se lo pierde.
I cannot tell you how many people are reaching out. We want more. Where's the feature length? I want to know how this happened. I want to know the prequel, the sequel. I want everything. And it's so interesting to me because it's a 4-minute piece. When something really connects with people, they really do want more. And I've had producers say to me when I told them that we did a 4-minute piece, they're like, well, how can you tell a story in 4 minutes? And it's such a challenge to create a story that has an arc, a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that can move you in 4 minutes. That's a challenge. That's a huge challenge. So I am always humbled by how many people have cried, literally cried with Espacios Vacíos. Not everybody's going to connect, but there's a really big percentage that is. And that's what it was made for.
Yes, I agree. It was beautiful. It really was a true piece of art. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I see myself having a successful production company where I get to create content that I really care about, that matters. An example, the short that I just did, Espacios Vacíos, and Nona, which was on child trafficking. These are two projects that I'm very proud of because they actually meant something. They were bigger than the acting gig for the day. You know, they were bigger than me. So I'd like to have a production company that does a lot of work this way. And also, it doesn't mean that I don't want to do comedies. My favorite genre is a dark comedy. I love dark comedies because I feel that life is a dark comedy. I really do. At least that's how I have viewed my life. I see it as a dark comedy. So that is my favorite genre. I love creating content that's sheer entertainment as well.
Maybe season 6. Right now? I found birth control searches on her laptop. Are you snooping? I'm cleaning her room.
Because sometimes life gets really tough, and it's so nice to have a 90-minute vehicle that helps you escape, laugh your ass off, is so healing. And if I can produce that kind of stuff that's going to offer people to just laugh, cry, great. But even better when I get to do a piece that they really can connect to, that can be a conversation piece for the month after, that is thought-provoking. And again, that gives you a space to maybe release some trapped emotions or thoughts that you didn't know you were carrying, and could provide just a little bit of healing. So that's what I mean by projects that matter and can make a positive difference. But I also love just great entertainment, because that also is a contribution, that little escape that allows you just to take a little lifetime out. So I'd love to have kick-ass production company doing that. I'd like to be directing a lot more scripted content, and who knows, maybe I'll be remarried by then. I don't know. I'm open.
You're absolutely amazing. And I'm so proud of you. To get to tell you that you are a very good representation of Salvadoreñas in Hollywood. Thank you, really.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. Thank you for having me. And thank you for following my career for 3 decades. My God, thank you so much. That means the world to me. Thank you for your support. Thank you.
A wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And for many wonderful, wonderful, wonderful years to come.